So I'm Michael Carver, founder and CEO of Mutri, and we are redefining the 3D visualization process. So every company needing to produce 3D experiences face the same problem of complex, lengthy, and expensive 3D content creation processes. And Mutri is here to fix this. How? We're building revolutionary products that are designed to turbocharge 3D content creators and enable wider adoption of 3D visualization technology. The first product of which is a product which turbocharges 3D artists and 3D visualizers to turn CAD and BIM files, so computer-aided design files of new buildings and products, into renderable, high-quality assets in just a few seconds. It looks like this. A 3D artist can come to the website, upload a CAD file. They can go ahead and select the output format, and then go ahead and download that model as a file that's ready for rendering. And this really just automates the grunt work and the boring manual labor involved with turning the CAD file into something that's ready for 3D rendering. And a bit like this. So it's all about turning something on the left, which is a little bit messy. We can see some strange black areas in this model here, which indicates incorrect snowball directions. We have some crazy smoothing going on, and generally it looks a little bit messy. We can see on the left as well, we have some crazy UV maps. Currently, 3D artists have to go ahead and spend hours, if not days, tweaking the model to make it nice and clean and get it to the point where it's renderable. So it has, textures, materials, and everything else applied to it, ready for consumption. Which looks like this. So it's all about taking CAD data and preparing it for rendering. And then from this point, a 3D artist or a 3D visualizer would take it to the next level and render that content in their renderer of choice. I'll skip the video just to save some time, because I'll explain a little bit more about that product in this one. We have a second product, which we launched back in April, which is a rendering solution, which takes that CAD data and it also renders that in the web. So it means that 3D artists and 3D visualizers or architects and designers can go ahead, upload a CAD file, and in a few seconds consume a high quality 3D visualization of that CAD file. And that's really all about taking a CAD file from the design stage, it prepares it, it renders it, and it presents it in a high quality front end in the web. So it's really all about taking the manual labor out of taking CAD files and preparing them for rendering, and then having to put them into a rendering solution like the Unreal Engine and deal with the complexities of the Unreal Engine and all that comes with that. It's a powerful engine, but it's really complex to use. And then we also present that in the web. So 3D artists, architects, designers don't have to worry about deployments to various devices, whether it's VR, desktop, mobile, and whatever else. Which looks like this. We have a front end that's nice and clean. You can go ahead and move around this space freely. This is really useful for helping to design a space, helping to market that space, or even selling that space as well, maybe through a online, obviously, sales platform, off-plan sales. So just as a quick demo, it's all about taking this sort of thing, which is a low quality, primitive looking CAD model. So it's got really poor geometry, there's no mapping, there's no textures, there's no lights, it's just a very dull looking grayscale model. If you go ahead and export this as an FBX file, which is a common interchange format for most 3D files, you can go ahead and drag and drop this into a Mutri, where the platform will automate the processes currently undertaken by 3D artists and 3D visualizers. So it gets converted, and we can go ahead and start the experience now. And at this point, Mutri will go ahead and it will fix any issues with geometry, it will map UVs, it will apply materials, and even place light sources for us. When we get to this point, so just a few seconds later, we have a beautiful web-based, Unreal Engine rendered web-based experience with no skill sets required, no local IT hardware, just drag, drop, and visualize. And it's the first time that 3D visualization has been made so simple. Up until recently, it requires teams of artists and visualizers to go ahead and create this stuff, and it costs thousands of pounds per experience. So we can go ahead, we've got a beautiful sunset in here. We can move around and have a look freely at the space. We can change time of day, so it's all real time and it all responds correctly to the sunlight. We can jump in and have a look at the space. We've got some nice textures applied and materials. We've got light sources. So we have a really nice, high quality, real-time rendered experience in the web from that pretty ugly CAD file that I showed you a few minutes ago. And again, this can be used to help design the space. It can be used to help market it. So we can take screenshots from this. We can take video fly-throughs from this and help to market the space. And again, it can also be used for the off-plan sale of this property as well. So that's a quick introduction to our two products. So the first of which is a product that turbocharges current users of 3D visualization technology. And the second product is all about enabling wider adoption of 3D visualization technology. So right now we're tackling the educated markets in terms of 3D visualization. And then with the rendering products, we're closing the loop on the rest of the markets by offering a solution which enables architects and designers and non-3D visualizers to access 3D visualization technology. And yeah, we're currently closing out a fundraise. We have 100K to go, and we have 50K of SES available. So we're looking to follow up the round with another 100K in the next few weeks with 50K of SEAS. And we've just been fortunate enough to win a 344K Innovate UK grant to help further enhance our products and go to market. Awesome. And that is everything. That's a wrap.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. How many minutes do you think you were today, Michael?
Probably 6 minutes, maybe.
You were 6 minutes on the dot. Excellent. All right. Well, Rachel, I wonder if you might ask the first question on this one. What have you got? You know what I'm going to say to you, though, right?
Yeah, so the first thing which occurred to me is you mentioned, presumably you've scoped out the mature market quite closely and you understand what that is. I mean, how big is the wider market, do you think, for this product?
Yeah. I mean, so the wider market, so when we look at sort of architectural design, visualization, product design, it enters 2025, it enters the tens of billions, essentially. So right now, I mean, the current beachhead is focused on the built environments, but once we extend the products out to include products, engineering, construction, it's 25 also billion the opportunity. Yeah.
What sort of proportion of the market do you think you'd be able to grab with the existing competition out there?
Yeah, so we're aiming to capture, at least in the first 3 years, we're aiming to turn over a total of £22 million in our third financial year, which represents, that's represented by 9,000 customers. That includes enterprise customers plus sort of freelancer 3D artists and freelancer architects as well.
So, I have one follow-up question. So with me sitting here as an accountant, do you see a use for that in my business marketing?
I think, I mean, ultimately, Amuche is really good at visualizing anything from new buildings, new products. It could be, I mean, I think there's an opportunity potentially in and around accountancy when it comes to thinking about heading into the insurance space. But yeah, with accountancy specifically, we could visualize the office space, maybe, if that would be interesting.
Yeah. Sorry, that was, I know that wasn't an ideal question for you, but just interested if you had any particular ideas.
You never know where a question is going to get you, right, Rachel? That's the whole point of this stuff,
absolutely.
Right? So over to John. Come on, Chief Geek. What questions do you have about this one? Have you seen this before, John?
No, I have not. Have you seen the message from Pedro that you're supposed to be paying attention to?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Okay, excellent. So, Michael, thank you for that. Can you tell us more about your team? Investors love to invest in a team, and I didn't hear much about that.
Yeah, certainly. So, yeah, I'm the founder of Amuche, but over the last 3 years, I've raised funds to recruit a team around me, which includes an exec team, which includes a COO with experience in capital raising, SaaS products building and exiting. I've also got a CPO who's a Dyson award-winning fellow and an experienced entrepreneur with sort of 20 years experience in product design, both physical and digital. Alongside that, we've recruited software developers in-house to build the products. So I personally have designed the architecture and how the product works. And I've recruited over the last 3 years now to sort of build this out. And then more recently, we've recruited marketers and customer success specialists to help us in outreach and then supporting our first set of users to first success of the product. So it's me and exec team who have hired, plus the first hires of software development, customer success, and marketing.
Okay. I would encourage you to strengthen the messages about how these people are world-class experts so that you really stand out in the crowd, because over the last 10 years, I keep hearing presentations such as yours. And so I'm not saying that you don't have something that's very unique, but I don't yet understand how your product is, how your offering is unique, or how your team is really unique. So I encourage you to strengthen that. You didn't say anything about paying customers, but you launched things in April. Do you have paying customers at this point?
Yeah, so we've got early revenues through the products, and we've also run several feasibility studies with our enterprise leads. So we're currently entering into sort of pilots with universities, for example, across the UK. So we have early products revenues, and we have feasibility, paid feasibility studies as well. It's early days for revenue.
I would suggest that you want to present a spreadsheet which includes how much your revenue has been and what you're expecting to accomplish as projections out in the future. Stu, I'm not sure how long we should be talking, so giving it back to you.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good. Well, I guess following on from one of John's questions there, what kind of feedback are you having on these early paid trials and these early proof of concepts?
Yeah, so it's mixed when it comes to the fixing solutions. So there is certainly a need to turbocharge or at least speed up the process of preparing CAD files and BIM files for rendering. It's just a question of how does fix fit into current workflows. So we think we've got it in terms of the vision and the current feature set. It's just is a drag and drop solution in the web appropriate? Should it be a plugin into a CAD software package or a 3D modeling package? That's kind of the questions I'm asking right now in terms of what does it fit in workflow. And then with the rendering solution, there is a clear need for faster content creation, or faster route to 3D visualization and 3D experience creation. And again, with that product, the vision and the need is validated. It's just what features do we build out next to, well, firstly onboard our first set of enterprise customers, and then secondly, what features do we build out for the online version of the products as well. So it's kind of interesting just working through, I guess, the go-to-market of this product, because what we're finding is that whilst there is a demand in enterprise for this solution, each enterprise customer has slightly different nuanced requirements, which we're trying to sort of work through, okay, what are the most common features between them, so we can eventually get to the point of having an off-the-shelf offering that satisfies the needs of enterprise customers and everybody else. So it's early days with revenue generation. We have a really robust tech stack which facilitates our sort of build, measure, and feedback loops, so we can get some feedback and we can respond to that pretty effectively. But really, it's just a question of where does a fix fit into workflows and what additional features does render need to achieve mainstream acceptance. Essentially, it's big questions, but we'll sort of slowly working through them at this point in time with the user feedback sessions with our current pipeline and freelancer 3D artists, architectural visualizers, and this goes on. So we're quite fortunate to be targeting the space where generally people want to innovate, work faster, do their jobs better, and are willing to speak to us and give their sort of feedback on how to improve the products. So we're fortunate to have those connections.
Right, thanks for that. And just before we turn to Pedro for a final question, I just thought I'd ask John and Medita, do you have any feedback for Michael on what he's just done? Sorry, John from Proper Home and Medita.
Hi, amazing work, Michael. I must divulge at this point that I'm a very interested party in your service and somebody who's very impressed by what you've built and know it in depth. So nothing more than to congratulate you on your road so far. Well done, mate.
Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Medita, what about you? Do you have any comments or thoughts for Michael?
Yeah, just maybe a question. In exploring sort of route to markets, Michael, are you looking at more licensing and working with other sort of CAD softwares, or more are you seeing a pull towards consulting type activity with that?
Yeah, so the ambition really is to get to the point where we have a set of tiered subscription offerings, really. So I almost see a mutually being sold through a very typical sort of tier subscription where it's based on usage with an enterprise option as well for slightly heavier, more feature-rich usage on enterprise. But it's going to take a little bit of time to get to that point, just because we need a little more feedback to understand what we include in each tier in terms of feature sets and usage levels. And we also need to understand what the we know what the value is of 3D experiences based on how much they currently cost to create manually, but it's working out how much do we charge for that service as an automated solution as a product. So we're really turning an expensive service into a cost-effective product, and it's quite challenging to put pricing around that. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and we do a lot of work on building modeling. So
Yes.
on the energy side of things, so this
Right.
kind of tool is really interesting because to get that sort of where the solar sun goes and how that shades different parts of the building. So applications are the applications in that sectors as well.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we're really interested in, I guess, the whole digital twin space, because Imetria does put, CAD and BIM data into the right format in the right place, aka in the cloud. And we're not a million miles away from connecting those models through sensors to real world assets as well. So we can connect up sensors between a virtual space and its physical counterpart. And absolutely, we can run sun studies in Imetria. We've got a really accurate time of day model in there, so everything's super accurate. It's real-time calculated, and it gives a really an accurate and rapid response. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do maybe in the future to help them out.
Yeah, brilliant. Good luck.
Thanks for that.
Thanks a lot.
Now, Pedro Guimarães, it's lovely to see you. You've got a beautiful background, just like it might just be summer in Portugal there. Any last questions or thoughts before we move on to Madita as number 2?
Yes, sorry for being late. I had some connection problems. Hi, everyone. Michael, do you see AI as a menace or as an opportunity?
Oh, sorry, I missed the first bit of that.
Do you see AI as a menace or
yeah.
an opportunity?
Oh yeah, I see it as a huge opportunity. So I think, our long-term plan really is to include some degree of AI. So it's either going to be on the way in which we process 3D CAD geometries to clean them up ready for visualization, because with some inclusion of AI at that step, we can pretty much, it's a catch-all solution without having for us to have to sort of chase our tails on feature developments and robustness. So AI could really help us with CAD processing or CAD pre-processing. And then on the other side, I'm really interested in generative AI because ultimately we have had a lot of feedback from, for example, from architectural practices who want a really high-end, marketing grade photorealistic visualization, which isn't impossible for us to get to. But if he was to render, for example, the final frame of an Imetria render, send that through a generative AI solution, we could then get to the point of a really, photorealistic, populated architectural rendering in just a few seconds. So I feel like with Imetria, we've created a bridge between the world of CAD and the world of rendering, and we have an option to add AI at the first point, which is where we ingest CAD data, and we also have the option to include it on the end where we output the image and then send it through a generative AI tool to enhance it further. So I think AI is going to be in the long term a big deal for the business, and really help us to increase the level of robustness of the products that gets it ready for sort of mainstream acceptance, and also prepares it for example, architectural visualization as well. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Give you a round of applause. I have to say, Mike, we've come on an awful long way since I've seen you do this before, but I still remember when you presented this in front of the people from Disney and the feedback that they gave you, and they literally were mind blown with what they did for hotels and all the other stuff within Disney real estate and what could actually happen. So good luck to you, mate. Good luck to you.